Hello friends, I'm Pratap Bhosle. Welcome you to Knowledge Institute. Earlier we have conducted two introductory lectures on zoology. Okay, and those who are in my zoology Telegram channel and group must know that should know that I have already released the first lectures notes on that group. Okay, so in the today's lecture we are going to conduct the cell biology's first part. Okay, and the remaining parts we will conduct in the subsequent lecture. Okay, so before that I would like to inform you those members who don't know about my Telegram channel and the group. Okay, so these are the platforms which will be very useful for you to prepare for the zoology. Okay, and these are the regular platforms which you can find on the Telegram global searches. But those of whom will purchase my book, which will have 22 years previous question papers, and I have sorted them according to each individual point. Okay, so that it will be very helpful for you to study and start to make understand that which points are useful and which are not. Okay, so once you have purchased the book, you can also inform me on the Telegram. I will add to you the personal zoology, Bhosle Geology Telegram group. And the benefit of this group will be that you will be getting more notes than the regular group. And then any books or notes are released, then you will also get the discount in it and participation in the live session. So there are the many benefits out of the membership of this group. Okay, so just let's start with today's lecture. In today's lecture, wait a minute. In today's lecture, we are going to start the cell biology. So this is the UPSC syllabus for the cell biology. It will also be applicable for the BSc and the MScs also. Okay, and I will conduct separate lectures for the BSc, MSc to cover the extra syllabus which is not in the UPSC. Okay. So the first point of today will be this: the structure and function of cell and its organelles. So the organelles we will conduct in the subsequent lectures. The first part of this, the structure and function of the cell. This is we are going to cover. So let's start with the space lecture. This is the introduction of what are the cells. Okay, the cells are the basic organization units of life. Okay, the eukaryotic cells show internal organization, and that kind of high level of membrane forming internal compartments are there in the eukaryotes. Okay, but in case of prokaryotes, there is a kind of internal organization, but there are no membrane bound organelles in case of prokaryotes. And the structure and function of a typical cell usual to apply to all animals. The different cell types organize into structural and functional units called tissues and organs. Okay, so these are the basic introduction of the cell biology. And let's start with the cell theory. So basically what you have to keep in mind for cell theory is that although the question has not been asked on the cell theory, but just you should have an introduction or introductory knowledge about the cell and the cell theory. So the only 2 points are important in the cell theory, that in the cell theory, the Sheldon and Schwann, these are the two scientists. Okay, the Schleiden was a botanist, and what he has postulated earlier is that the plants are composed of different kinds of cells which forms the tissues, and the same kind of observation was made by Schwann also, but Schwann was a zoologist. Okay, so he made a first observation regarding the animal cells, and he reported that the thin layer out of which today is known as the plasma membrane. Okay, the cells had a thin layer which is called as a plasma membrane. Okay, so he concluded that that the animals and plants are composed of cells, right, and the products of cells. So first, this cell theory was proposed by the Schleiden and the Schwann. Ultimately, what they said is that all living things are composed of cells and the products of cells. But after that, Rudolf Virchow corrected the theory, right, and he modified the hypothesis and gave that all the cells arise from the pre-existing cells. Okay, so these are the only few points you have to remember, although the questions are not asked on this, so this is not so much important. Okay, so the next point is the cell types. Okay, so cell types is the main cell types we can say as the eukaryote and the prokaryote. Okay, so the actual translation of this eukaryote cell will be the true nucleus, and the prokaryotic cell is that the before nucleus. Okay, so also the meaning is without nucleus and with nucleus, but a translation, perfect translation of the Greek will be the before nucleus means prokaryote and true nucleus means the eukaryote. The prokaryotic cell further are classified or the earlier classified into eubacteria and the archaebacteria. The eubacteria are the true bacteria, and the archaebacteria are the archaea. Okay, and who give that postulations that the archaea and the eubacteria are there? The scientist named Woos. Okay, he found that the archaebacteria are different fundamentally from the bacteria. Okay, in the ribosomal RNA based sequences. So that's why he actually considered the archaebacteria to be a separate kingdom, archaea. Okay, so all of these are points related to the classification, and we have a separate topic of the classification. Okay, so don't go in much details of this. So let's start with the first point, which is important in respect of the exam also, the eukaryotic cell. The eukaryotic cells exhibit a major degree of internal organization, as stated earlier. So, with a dynamic system of membranes forming internal compartments. So, what does it mean that this is a basic diagram of an eukaryotic cell. So, in case of eukaryotic cell, you can see these are all the different organelles are there, right? This is the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi, nucleus, mitochondria. Then the centrioles, vacuoles, secretory vesicle, all of these organelles are there. This is a high level of internal organization. All of these organelles have their individual structure and the individual separate functions. Okay, so that is observed in case of eukaryotic cell. The cells that have membrane-bound nucleus containing DNA are called eukaryotic cells. Okay, so what is another characteristic is that only the eukaryotic cells has this membrane-bound nucleus. Okay, so the nucleus in case of eukaryotic consists of nucleolus, chromatin, and the nuclear membrane. Okay, so this is a specific characteristic with the in case of eukaryotic cell. Okay, and the example is the largest single isolated egg of an ostrich is the largest single cell. Okay, we have lots of smaller cell also, but the largest single cell is example of is ostrich, right? Then we will going to see what are the basic parts of eukaryotic cell. The question can be asked that what are the basic parts of eukaryotic cell? And if the question like that is asked, you cannot say that the basic parts will be like it will be plasma membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, along with that mitochondria, endoplasmic. All of these must be basic because they are very vital. But in the reference book, I think in the Cleveland or Miller, they have given that the three basic parts are plasma membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. So why all of these organelles are located in the cytoplasm? Most of this, right? Whatever the organelles you will say, endoplasmic reticulum, the Golgi, right, mitochondria, they are located where? In the cytoplasm. In the plasma membrane and in the nucleus, what are the organelles are there? The nucleolus is there, right? The nucleolus is there, chromatin is there. Okay, so all of these organs are there, but all of the the cytoplasm and nucleus is enclosed by the plasma membrane. Okay, so that's why this is the three basic parts of an eukaryotic cell. So let's go one by one, right? So before that, actually, there is a reason why I have shown these diagrams. Okay, so there should be a particular way to name the diagram. Okay, so this was one of the earlier drawings, so that's why I have used as it is. But actually there are some rules to draw diagrams. Okay, then I will make a separate one slider for you and will post in on the group. So what are the rules to draw the diagram? I will get those rules in the short. I will tell you the rules in short. Okay, the first thing that you should draw this diagram most probably on the left hand side, and the labeling on the right hand side. Okay, so all of these labels should be on this side. Okay, and even if it becomes difficult, you can name one or two in, that is no problem, but it is a standard practice. Okay, the next thing is that you should not show these arrows, okay, while showing any organelles. Okay. Okay. I have used it earlier image there, and so you may say it is wrong, but this will also make you to remember that I am showing something wrong. Usually people remember if someone tells you are doing right, but not the things which you have done rightly. Okay, you remember the mistakes mostly. Okay, so you should not show these arrows. Instead of what you should do, this line should start from the middle of that organelle which you are going to show. Okay, if you are showing nucleolus, start from the middle of the nucleus. If you are showing this rough endoplasmic reticulum, start from the center of this organelle. Okay. Yes. So that is the basic idea, showing these organelles by a simple line which should start from the center, right? So, and the next thing is that none of these lines should cross with each other, right? Don't show such crossing while labeling. And the next standard practice is that all of these names should be as possible as should be in a straight line. Okay, don't draw such a line, but keep it aligned in a straight line, like cytoplasm, like Golgi, mitochondria. Show all of them in a straight line. Okay, and if possible, keep these lines parallel also. Okay, so in this end, this will make your diagram more aesthetic, right? The aesthetic. So next, we will start to get the information about these organelles. Okay. Let's rub this. And all the details of these organelles we are seeing in the separate lectures. Okay, so I'm going to conduct a separate lecture on the lysosome only, separate lecture on the plasma membrane only, mitochondria only. Okay, so let's start with the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the semi-fluid material enclosed within the plasma membrane, and its function is transport dissolution of substance within cell and contains organelles and vesicles. What does it mean? See, all of this which is inside this plasma membrane, right? All of this inside the space inside this plasma membrane is filled with the cytoplasm. Okay, and all these organelles are embedded in it. Okay, the nucleus, mitochondria, the centrioles, vacuoles, plasma membrane, ribosomes, all are embedded in this cytoplasm. Okay, and what is its function is that it gives a space to carry out various functions. Okay, the transport of various RNAs, macromolecules, okay, enzymes within the cell. All of this activity happens in the cytoplasm. The next is what? Cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton means what? The interconnecting microfilaments and microtubules, flexible cellular framework, helps in cell movement, support the cell and binding for specific enzymes. So these are some microfilaments there, okay, and intermediate filaments there also. And what do? They just give a kind of structure and a shape to the cell, and they will also help the cells to move. It's a kind of muscle, right? So this is the function of the microfilaments or the cytoskeleton. Next is the cytosol. Is the fluid part of cytoplasm which surrounds the nucleus. Okay, the cytoplasm, as I said, also have the cytosol organelles in it. Okay, so but the exact cytoplasm's fluid part. Okay, the fluid part is what called as cytosol, right? The fluid part of cytoplasm. The next is the organelles embedded in it. Metabolic reactions of the cell occur here, and obviously this is liquid, semi-fluid or the fluid part. So the reactions or the metabolic reactions, ATP generation, utilization, transport, cycles, all occurs in the cytosol. Okay. Next is the microfilament. The rod-like structure contains the protein actin. This structural and assists cell movement. Okay. This is the microfilament. This is microfilament. Okay, it assists in the cell movement. Okay, the same as kind of the cytoskeleton. The Golgi apparatus, tightly packed system of smooth surfaced vesicle near the nucleus. store secretory vesicles, and prepared for final secretion. So this is the Golgi apparatus. What does it do? It gets the vesicles which are coming from the endoplasmic reticulum, okay, and it just these are the vessels containing enzymes. They process it, and finally they secrete a packaged vesicles like the secretory proteins or the lysosome, right? Okay, so this is the function of the Golgi apparatus. Next is what? Ribosomes, the ribonucleic acid for useful for the protein synthesis. Okay, endoplasmic reticulum does what? It is ultimately gives rise to the synthesis of lipid substances. Okay, also forms the ribosomes, microsomes, and the storage and internal transport of it. Right. The structure is the endoplasmic reticulum is a continuous structure from the nuclear membrane to plasma membrane. Next is the mitochondria. It is a double unit membrane. Sorry, double unit membrane or double membrane. See, these are the external, or this is the internal membrane, right? Then the obviously mitochondria is a storehouse of energy. It generates the ATP, and one important thing about mitochondria is that it is self-replicative. Right? It can generate itself. Right? It has its own DNA. Next is the lysosomes. It's the lipoprotein unit membrane, and lysosomes, these are the vesicles which are packed by the Golgi apparatus, secreted by the endoplasmic reticulum, and these have the acidic digesting enzyme. Okay. Next is the microtubules, the fine tubular structure, and it has two centrioles which are cylindrical structures, and for the rigid physical structures, movement of cytoplasm, important role in cell division by assisting chromosome movement. Okay, so these are the microtubules, also helps in the cell movement and the chromosome movements. Okay, these are what the shape is what the tubular structures. Okay, and there are two centrioles in it in the cytoplasm which are connected with it. The microtubule organizing center, MOTC, or the MTOC. It is centrioles containing cytoplasmic membranes. Okay, these are sure, maybe I think two centrioles are there in the microtubule organizing center. Okay, and it is what is a dense site in the cytoplasm which gives rise to a large number of microtubules with different function. Next is the centrosome. The centrosome is what? It is the two cylindrical structures called centrioles. And they are surrounded by amorphous pericentrolar materials made up of 9 evenly spaced peripheral fibers of tubulin. Okay. Even though you have not understood about these structures, okay, we are going to see one by one, but we cannot cover in one lecture. So just remember the description, the structure, and the function in this lecture only. Okay. The details we will going to conduct in the next lectures. And the centrosome is what? The main it is the main microtubule organizing center. It is what? Centrosome of the animal cell. The centrioles are what? These are located in the microtubule organizing center, MTOC, and it contains the 9 triplet microtubules in the structure. And what it forms is from the basal body of cilia and flagella. Okay, function in mitotic spindle formation also in cell division, in case of cell division also. Next is the nucleus. All of you know the nucleus is the control center of the cell, and it also have a major role in the cell division. Okay, and it was first described by the Robert Brown. Okay, and next is the peroxisome. These are the small vesicles, and which are the single membrane bound organelles, and which are found in eukaryotic cells. They contain the digestive enzymes for breaking down toxic materials in the cell. Okay, as that of lysosomes, they are also digesting materials. Vacuole is what? Membrane surrounded are often large sac, and it stores the site food, and also compounds which are not useful, they pump it out of the cell. So this is what? The eukaryotic cell. Next is the what? Prokaryotic cell. Okay, so this is the basic diagram of prokaryotic cell. So the prokaryotics means what? The before the nucleus, right? These are the single-celled organisms, and these are nothing but what? Bacteria, right? But there are the bacteria have the simplest structure, you can say, and because it has only a single nucleoid region, right, and plasmid, which could be you could call as organelles, right? So they have a nuclear region where the DNA material is concentrated. It has the plasmid, which is the extra chromosomal DNA also, the ribosomes for protein synthesis, and in the membranes it has outer membrane, which is capsule, which is called as capsule. It has the medial layer, which is the cell wall, and the internal plasma membrane inside it. Along with that, it has three thread-like structure. The first one is the fimri. Fimri, these are what? Bristle-like substances. Okay, these are useful for the attachment. Then next is, and the fimri are more in number, like 100 and 200. The pili is like 1 to 28, and the difference between the fimri and pili is the pili also get participate in the conjugation also, right? That the F pilus or the sex pilus, right? And these are less in numbers. And the next, the last one is the flagellum, right? The flagellum is what? Useful in the cell movement, locomotion, right? It just propagates the cell inside the medium. Okay. So, and the plasmid is what? The extra chromosomal DNA. It helps for it has a role in conjugation, right? Also, the cytoplasm is there also. All of this space is filled with the cytoplasm, right? Next, so these are all the organelles, the capsule, and the capsule important point is it has the virulence factor, and it is present in what? Gram positive also, gram negative also. And it has a protective function. The capsule has protective function, right? And against what? Against desiccation also, and macrophages cells. Okay. The next is it can protect the cell wall. And the cell wall, it has a major component, and it contains what? Peptidoglycan monomers in it. And the peptidoglycan consists of what? NAG and NAM, N-acetyl glucosamine and N-acetyl muramic acid. And the function of it is that it maintains the structure, protects the cell environment, and prevents the cell from bursting when it takes the water, right? Whenever you keep a cell inside a hypotonic solution, so it is likely to what? Swell. Okay, at that time it protects the cell from bursting. Next one is the plasma membrane. It composes of phospholipid bilayer membrane, right? And the function is what? To protect the cell from its surrounding. And also this plasma membrane only permeates the ions and organic molecules in and out of the cell. The cytoplasm is nothing but which contains the entire cell insides, and it has enzymes, macromolecules inside it. And what is the function of the cytoplasm? Is the breaking down the waste, carrying out various cycles, like the cell activity ground, right? The plasmid it is a circular piece of DNA, and it facilitated the replication. Also, resistance. It has also play a major role in resistance also. Pili or the F pilus, also called as sex pilus, we have already covered it. It is useful in what? Conjugation, gene transfer. Fimri, it is responsible for cell-to-cell surface attachment, and the flagella for movement. Okay, so this was what about the eukaryotic cell and the prokaryotic cell. Okay, only see nowadays only short questions are asked, not the 60-mark questions are asked. So this would be a sufficient material for a 20 marker or 15 or a 10-mark question. So this was the question which was asked in 2013 UPSC Civil Service exam. The question says that describe the structural organization of a prokaryotic cell. What are the different traits and function in which it differs from a eukaryotic cell? Okay, here I have given you very short notes also and a short introduction also. A much detailed version of these notes I have uploaded in my group. Okay, so if you want those notes, you should join the Telegram group and search for this chapter's notes. And there you will get a much detailed notes. Okay, most of you must already have it, those who are members of my group. Okay, so this is in this question, in the answer, you can draw this diagram if you have a time. Okay, so this is shows what just a eukaryotic cell and the prokaryotic cell in the one figure only. Okay, and you can enlist these diagrams. Okay, so as the question says, what are the traits and functions in which it differs? Okay, so the eukaryotic and the prokaryotic cells differ structurally also and functionally also. Okay, so I have actually separated the structural functions and the structural differences and the functional differences. Okay, you can also make it in a single chart also. There is uh, nothing wrong in it. Okay, so just to make you understand, or also to make the examiner understand, I have just separated this. Okay, so let's go through this quick. They differ in the cell size. The eukaryotic cell are 100 micrometer, prokaryotic cells are smaller. The cell wall usually absent in eukaryote, present in prokaryotes. Membrane-bound nucleus present in case of eukaryotic cell. And other membrane-bound organs like endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi, lysosomes are present in case of what? Eukaryote, but absent in case of prokaryotic. Okay. So these notes which I have uploaded. Okay, I have just not uploaded and want to improve the number of points in it. Okay, I have just included, I could have increased the number of points by saying lysosomes present, absent, endoplasmic reticulum present, absent, but that would only increase the bulk of the answer but not the quality of the answer. Okay, so all of these points are there. You will not find these points anywhere, I can guarantee you that. Okay, because I have referred almost 5 to 8 books for it, and after that I have drawn this answer. Okay, so that's why I have limited the number of points, but these points are very much important and unique. Okay, so let's the next point is what? Ribosomes present in mitochondria also and rough endoplasmic reticulum also, but it is present in chloroplast in case of prokaryote. The type is used in eukaryotic is 80S and 70S in prokaryotes. The nuclear chromosomes more than one is present in eukaryote, but not true chromosome is there. It is the plasmid is the extra chromosomal DNA. Okay, the cell type is usually multicellular in case of eukaryote, and it is a unicellular like bacteria, cyanobacteria, right? Sorry, bacteria. The cyanobacteria can be the multicellular one. Okay, there are exceptions. And the lysosomes and peroxisomes present in case of eukaryote, but absent in case of what? Prokaryote. The flagella and cilia are the microscopic membrane bound, and they are submicroscopic in case of prokaryote. Okay, the plasma membrane is receptors are present and typically lacks the receptor. These typically lacks what? Receptor, but the receptors are present on eukaryotic plasma membrane. The gene structure of eukaryotes is what? Open reading frame, and which disturbed by the presence of introns. Okay, in case of prokaryote, it mainly consists of operon-based gene clusters, and introns do not interact. These terms might be difficult for you to understand, but trust me, when we will finish our entire syllabus, you will understand this. Okay, this will be at that time it will be easy. And the RNA polymerase in case of eukaryotic cell is how? Complex enzymes containing 8 to 14 subunits. But in case of prokaryotic, there are only 4 subunits with a sigma factor, right? So these are the structural differences. The next are the functional differences in case of eukaryote and prokaryote. The DNA transcription and the mRNA translation in case of eukaryotic cells occurs in the nucleus. The DNA transcription occurs in the nucleus, and the mRNA translation occurs in the cytosol. But in case of prokaryotic, it occurs simultaneously in the cytosol, as it does not have a separate nucleus in it. Right. Next, the reproduction, the sexual reproduction, meiosis and mitosis occur in case of eukaryotic cells. But in case of prokaryotic cells, only asexual or the binary reproduction occurs. The respiration mode is the strictly aerobic in case of eukaryotes, and it can be aerobic and anaerobic in case of prokaryotic cells. The energy metabolism. Okay, the mitochondria is present in case of eukaryotes, and the oxidative enzymes are packaged in the vessels. And more unified pattern of oxidative metabolism occurs in case of what? Eukaryotes, but that is not the case in the case of prokaryotes. The mitochondria are absent. That there are nothing is packaged is separately in the vesicles. The metabolic enzymes are not packaged in the vesicles, and there is a great variation in the metabolic pattern. Right, there is no fixed pattern. Okay. Next is the nitrogen fixation. It is occurs in case of only prokaryotic, some of the prokaryotic cells, but eukaryotic cells cannot fix the nitrogen. The cell cycle in case of eukaryotic cells is a longer one, maybe 12 to 24 hours. And in case of prokaryotic cells, it is a shorter one, up to 60 minutes or less than that. The gene expression in case of eukaryotic cells is controls at the level of epigenetics, transcription, post-transcription, translation, post-translation. There are various levels of control of the gene expression in case of eukaryotic cells, because there are higher level of internal organization is there, but in case of prokaryotes that high level of internal organization is not there. That's why it is control at the level of transcription only, because it does not have many sites to control, right? Next is the intracellular movements. The cytoplasmic streaming, phagocytosis, pinocytosis all occur in case of eukaryotic cells, but none of this can occur in case of prokaryotic cells, because there are no organelles which carry out these functions in prokaryotic cells. Next is the nutrition. The nutrition mode of eukaryotic cell is most absorption, and also some photosynthesis. Some organisms carry out photosynthesis. In case of prokaryotes, it is absorption, ingestion, photosynthesis by some of these, right? Next is the practice question. Okay, so although this may not come in the syllabus, but when you have a cell structure in the syllabus, you cannot actually decide what are the sub points under it. Okay, so in between I will conduct some extra practice questions which are not directly part of the syllabus, but which may come under the syllabus. Okay, so like it. This is one of the questions. With that, why we see the most cells, they are smaller in size, because there is a reason, or you can say there is a scientific reason why the cells are small in size. Why we don't have an elephant-sized cell? There is a reason why. That reason is that the first reason is the optimum volume ratio of nucleus to its cytoplasm. That means what? The nucleus controls the cell, right? The nucleus that also means nucleus controls the entire cytoplasm. Okay. The ratio, suppose the volume of the nucleus is 1 and the volume of cytoplasm is 10, so the ratio will be 1 by 10. Okay, that would be manageable for a nucleus. Okay, but if the size, the volume goes on increasing like that, the ratio of this nucleus volume and cytoplasm volume will become very much less. Like when the volumes of say nucleus will be, suppose so something like around 1, at that time the volume of the cytoplasm will go more beyond the 100, right? So the ratio will be much lesser and lesser. So that's why it would be impossible for nucleus to control that much volume of cytoplasm, right? There is a limit how much of the activities our brain can control. You cannot control the 10 bodies work by a single brain. So that kind of logic is here, that the volume, that the ratio should be what? Optimum. It should be managed by nucleus. So this is the first reason. The second reason is what? The rapid increase in cell volume than cell surface area within the increase in size. Whenever the cell size increases, okay, the cell increase in cell volume and increase in cell surface area. Okay, the rate of increase in the cell volume is much higher than the rate of increase in cell surface area. And why it is important, the cell surface area? Because the cell surface area is the area from which the cell takes anything which is useful and takes out which is not useful. Okay, but if the mass, if the volume is so much that cell cannot take that much quantity which is required from the cell surface area, and cell is just unable to expel out all the waste product inside it, the cell will eventually die. Okay, so that's why we have a smaller cells, okay, which will have an optimum volume ratio of nucleus to cytoplasm, and which will have a manageable surface area to its volume. Okay, so this was the reason. Okay, so this was for our first lecture. Okay, and I will try to keep these lectures at a low length only, because students are not most likely to watch a longer video, but it is also hectic to watch 2 or 3 videos for a single concept. So I will try to finish it, try to maintain 30-40 minutes length of every video. Okay, so let's meet in next lecture, and we will start with some cytosol of the cell membrane. Okay, have a nice day.